You are listening to Slightly Warped, the podcast that tackles topics with a unique perspective. Here's your wild card, Richard Kearney, and your whimsical, Ryan Pulley.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Slightly Warped Podcast. I'm Rick, joined as always by Big Show. What's up, man?
What is happening?
Nothing new in my world. What do they say? Same shit, different day.
Well, I always say same shit, different toilet, but yes, it means the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to make it through the world. Or as our good friend Boba Fett or Jango Fett would say, I'm a simple man trying to make my way through the galaxy.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, we got our obligatory Star Wars reference in for this week. Kids, I want to talk to y'all today about fakes, frauds, and attention seekers. So this is going to be a good show. Buckle your chin straps. We're going to have some fun.
You're looking at two of them. Attention seekers, that is.
Yeah. So before we get started, how was your weekend, man?
It was all right. Doing some home projects. We're in the process of laying hardwoods down, and also I'm hanging a new drop. It's not a drop ceiling. It's more like it's a wood plank ceiling, and doing that. So I laid all the track work out over the weekend and got it up there. So yeah, just a little bit at a time.
Good for you, handyman Big Show.
Well, I'm not a handyman. I just I can follow directions fairly good. Can turn a wrench. My daddy taught me a few things.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know about you, but I don't like this weather already. I know we've gotten some few more warm days, but when it cools down, it's starting to get in the 40s. I'm like, hey, where'd my summertime go?
Well, summertime's over, brother. It's November.
I know.
Next week is Turkey Day, so
but I'm so spoiled.
Yeah, well, you better get the shit over with, because the next 3 months, brother, I think we're in for it.
I know. I can't get around it.
I guess if you want something different, move south.
You know what though? I come to the conclusion a long time ago that you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. There's always going to be something to complain about. Too hot, too cold, always raining. What's with these earthquakes? Yada, yada, yada. So I am of the mind that I'm just going to deal with what comes. I just happen to be in Kansas, where at any given moment, any of those things could happen.
Except for the hurricane.
That's true.
I tell you though, if I won the lottery, and when I disappear, I would move to Hawaii. Give me a little spot on one of the islands there, and just live out the rest of my days.
I can't blame you.
Hawaii is such a beautiful place, and I won't forget how welcoming that little island was. Like racism, things that we deal with hasn't made it across the ocean like it has here. It's very refreshing.
I have never been to Hawaii.
Unless you're in the strict Polynesian area, they don't like white folks. But other than that, everybody is pretty accommodating.
So what you're saying is I have nothing to worry about. Okay.
Oh, not at all. And if for some reason, like, you become a drug addict and you lose your job and your house and everything, find a way to get to Hawaii, live homeless on the beach. It's a great life there too, man. I'm telling you.
Not that I would wish anybody to be homeless or lose their jobs. But hey, that's
I'm
a
telling you,
viable
if that
alternative.
ever happened, that's where I will go. I will scrape up enough to get a one-way ticket there and then spend the rest of my days right there on the beach.
I'm gonna see if I
I
can
mean,
sell that to Heather tonight. Hey, I am going to smack my boss in the face. So pack our
no,
bags. We're
no,
going to Hawaii.
no, that's prison. There's a difference. You don't want to go there. I said homeless.
Well, yeah, you do have a home in prison, 3 square meals a
You
day. Just yeah.
you do.
Wow. Speaking of prison or people that should belong in prison, talk to me about this story that you presented to me, and I was like, wow, I didn't believe you because I had never heard of it.
Did you watch the documentary?
I have not. So if you could tell
Ah.
me, enlighten me, and tell our viewers about this man.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay a little bit of groundwork here, a little bit of thread, and then you're going to have to watch the documentary, and then we're going to have a discussion about it.
And tell everybody where they can find this documentary too.
It's I believe I caught it on Netflix.
Okay.
It's called BS Boy Sam High. So it's about Bishop Sycamore. I'm gonna make sure that I give you the right information here.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was Netflix.
One of them via streaming services.
Yeah, but I want to make sure. No. It was on the HBO Max. It says it's on Hulu and Amazon Prime as well. But I watched it on the Max streaming system or service.
Okay.
Anyway, just a short story because, like I said, it's too long to just gloss over. So I just want to kind of give an idea. So basically, it's about this gentleman named Roy. I want to say Johnson. Yeah, Roy Johnson. So back in 2018, he wanted to start a football program.
Before you go any further, I do want to clarify with everybody because I'm checking it out now. If you go to Hulu, it redirects you to HBO Max.
10-4. So he basically he got into an online school. It's called Christians of Faith Academy, COF. And he created a football program for this online school. Okay. And then eventually, and I want to say in 2019, he had ran up a lot of bills. So COF kind of backed away from him, or COF canceled. Like I said, I'd have to do more research. But anyway, that's how Bishop Sycamore was created. Again, it's a fictitious school. Okay. There were no teachers. There were no staff. There were students that were never made to go to class. Okay. But Roy Johnson is one of the biggest con men that I've ever seen on TV that will proudly tell you he's a con man. And he calls himself a truthful liar. A truthful liar.
What does that mean?
I'm about to explain to you, because the dude, he has some charisma. I mean, obviously, for the hundreds of thousands of dollars that he swindled from these people, but basically pick one topic. Like if you said, hey, did you make up this fictitious school? There are 10 things that he's going to tell you. Out of those 10 things, he's going to lie about 6 of them, but 4 of them are going to be absolutely true. So he's a truthful liar. He's like, he is the perfect snake oil salesman. Don't look over here, look over here, that type of thing. But basically the whole story is that, and as you watch this documentary, you realize some of the kids that were on his team were actually older than 20 years old. Now, this is what I find fascinating. Okay. So they paid this, after they've been playing these games and things, and he sucks as a head coach, football wise. The team sucked. Okay, they weren't like any. They weren't. Somehow he swindled ESPN to televise one of his games.
Wow.
Okay, we're talking about ESPN. So they had this gentleman create a schedule for Bishop Sycamore, and it was the fourth toughest schedule in the nation. In the nation. Okay. And one of the schools that he was going to play, I believe, was the IMG Academy, which is one of the top tier schools in the country. And it's a bridge. So what he decided Bishop Sycamore was, what he sold these kids to, was that it was a bridge school from high school to Division I football. If you didn't get no letter of intent, you didn't get no scholarships, come play with me for a year. I'll get you in front of these scouts that will give you an opportunity to play for a big Division I school or whatever.
Okay.
But they were considered a high school. Okay. Now, I believe that the rules of the country state you are no longer eligible for high school sports once you reach the age of 20. No matter if you have eligibility left. Like if I dropped out of 10th grade and here I am damn near 50 years old, I can't go back and play starting quarterback for my high school, because I'm too old, right?
Right.
So they have that age limit. Anywho.
Darn, because I still have a cannon for an arm.
Right.
Don't have the knees.
So again, somehow he swindled ESPN to televise his game against IMG. And they were playing in Canton, Ohio at the Hall of Fame Stadium. Okay. This is how big this game was.
Okay, let me make sure I'm hearing you right. This man faked his way to obtaining a team, getting on ESPN, and playing in Canton, Ohio, the motherland of football,
at the Pro Football Hall of Fame Stadium. Now, Bishop Sycamore, this is in the state of Ohio. Okay, so all of this happened in the state. So IMG is one of the biggest schools in Ohio. So that's why they got the Canton Stadium. But it was this big to do buildup. I laugh, even though I feel bad for these kids, but how he was able to do this, I have no idea. But you find out. So the IMG was the third game of their season. Okay. They played their first two games and lost. And they had a game, let's say, Friday, right?
Right.
And they were supposed to play. So they played on how was it? They played on one weekend and then played the following Friday. Okay. Like a regular high school does. But they were already scheduled to play IMG that Sunday. He threw in a game 48 hours before the IMG game, just accepted a game and played it. Now, there is no rule that says you cannot play a tackle football game 48 hours in advance of another tackle football game. It's just not frowned, it's frowned upon, because
conditioning and everything. Yeah.
Bruises, you're banged up. You got to let your body rest, that type of thing. Make a long story short, these kids got on ESPN, got their asses handed to them, like 56-3 or some shit. Hold on. Let me go back. I can actually tell you the score. I just seen it. IMG 56-6 was the final.
So they scored 2 field goals, not one.
No, it was 1 touchdown. They missed the extra point.
Oh, yeah, that's even worse.
Right.
The kicker had his chance.
Just got mollywopped, right? quarterback blew out his arm. One of the kids tore an ACL. They had no medical people. They had just one of the kids' moms as a nurse to come help.
Oh,
One kid blew his ACL. I mean, it was just bad. They didn't have the right equipment. Kids were sharing helmets. It was right. And
man.
now imagine you're ESPN, this multi-million-dollar establishment,
Mhm.
and in the middle of the second quarter, you realize you've been duped, but you can't cut away because you have commercial people that paid, so you can't just not show the game no more, right?
Right.
So the entire second half is the announcers dogging BS High, which I think is also funny. Bishop Sycamore, BS High, bullshit high. I think that's kind of comical.
You think that was planned?
I don't know, but I do think it's quite comical. But so they don't, like, we don't know who these people are, blah 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 blah. We have to do more research, but they're basically realizing that they got hornswoggled in this whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
IMG, like I said, whooped them up. But immediately after that IMG game, that's when the whole thing happened and exploded. The rest of their season was canceled. Now, granted, he did keep the school open and played in 2021. I think that was the last year, and then it basically faltered at the end of 2021.
Interesting.
Although the school is still out there, and Roy says that he, this isn't the last you heard of Bishop Sycamore, blah blah blah. I'm just scratching the surface of this story. I really want you to watch it so we can have a better discussion.
Oh, I
But
will. I will.
but some of the things that he did was, during COVID, so again, I don't know how this works, but he was able to keep these kids in hotel rooms, right? He didn't feed them. They maybe ate once a day, every 3 or 4 days, maybe. So the kids were stealing food from Walmart because they were hungry, because he didn't have no money to feed his team. Okay. And then later on, he had all the kids fill out PPP loans. And each kid got like $60,000, $70,000 that he said was for tuition to Bishop Sycamore, and took this money. So not only did he take these kids' NFL or I'm sorry, Division II football dreams, but what, instead of a diploma, you graduate with what? Loan debt,
Wow.
because they're
Oh
all in
my
these
God.
kids' name. He completely preyed upon these, and these were kids that come from poor neighborhoods, didn't have a whole lot, didn't have any. They were either going to go to crime or things like that. They were frowned upon in their said areas. So he did prey upon what he thought were weaker people. And then he's a straight narcissist, because like these kids are pouring their heart out to this producer of this documentary, and he, typical, turn it around on them. Well, without me, you didn't do blah 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 blah. You gonna blame me because your knee went out? You sorry ass blah blah blah. He's that type of guy.
Wow.
But one of the things that really, I was excited, and then immediately the rug got pulled out from underneath me, is their quarterback. After all of this said and done, somehow his story got to the head coach of Grambling State.
Hmm.
Uh, um,
Okay.
what, Hugh Jackson? Ain't that his name? He used to coach the
Yes.
Browns. Ain't that his
Yes.
name? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he's the head coach of Grambling, and said, "Hey, I like." They sent his tape, and he's like, "Yeah, I like." Offered this kid a scholarship to Grambling, which is a historical black college, HBCU. So this kid was excited. Less than a week later, all of this crap came out, and because he was not in a real school, they pulled his
Oh,
scholarship. So now he's
oh
sitting
man.
right, and there's nothing that the school could do because there are legalities in the NCAA that you have to be as a student athlete, and none of these kids,
I'll bet
you
that
know,
kid was just crushed. He was
yeah,
on the verge.
man,
On the verge.
all the kids were crushed, every single one of them. I mean, it's just bad. Now he's
Man.
still trying to get in. It's 2023, and they said as of 2023, he's still that quarterback is still trying to get with a school, type of thing for his eligibility. But yeah, it was sad. Um, yeah, it was just sad all the way
Yeah,
around.
I'm definitely gonna check it out. Man, that dude is a fraud. A fraud and a half. I
Big
mean,
time, big time. I mean, just the everything that he did, and I don't understand. Like when he took these kids to these hotels, they were like, okay, because I guess they were going to be in this area for an extended period of time. Obviously the football season, which is what 3 months long.
mhm.
So they said you want to pay in 30, 60, or 90, and he was like, hell, you're going to give me 90 days credit? Hell yeah, I'll take the 90 days credit. And stayed in this really nice hotel for 90 days, basically racking up all these charges and never paid. He has I think they said I want to say it was astronomical, like 300 separate lawsuits. But I might be exaggerating, and it might be only be 30, but it's still a ton of freaking lawsuits that
One is
that
one
he's
too
going
many. I
against.
mean,
Right. And yeah, you have to watch it. It's only about an hour and a half long. It's not very long at all. But man, I was
oh
watching it, and
yeah, yeah.
the whole time I was like this. I was like, I can't believe that somebody did that.
I am
It's
definitely gonna
just
check it out
bad.
this week because I would love to revisit this again next week, just to gloss over it again because just from what you've told me has literally blown my mind.
And here's the kicker too, which is, and I find I say it's funny from a football fan, but it's really not. But going back to that ESPN game, I want to reiterate there were young men on the Bishop Sycamore team that
Mhm.
were 21, 22, 23 years old that got their asses whooped by 15, 16, 17-year-old kids
That does make it funny.
on national television, ESPN.
Yeah, that
When you look at, you're like, and I mean, that's how bad the coaching. I mean, that's how it. Obviously, leadership. The attitude reflects leadership, and his leadership sucked. And yeah, it was bad all in general. But yeah, you definitely have to check it out. I'd
definitely
be
will.
interested to hear your thoughts.
I will share my thoughts with that. Um, Along those same lines, not necessarily frauds. You could call some of them fakes. Definitely a lot of them attention seekers. I was at one of the local stores the other day and I came across several books. It just looks like they were all in a row. Um, Obviously, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, Britney Spears. You look down the other row, it was John Stamos, Alicia Keys, Kerry Washington, Prince Harry, Patrick Stewart, even Henry Winkler. They all have a memoir or a tell-all book. And this is nothing new in the Hollywood industry, nothing new. But just to see all of them at one time on a shelf, I'm like, oh my God, are these all attention seekers? Are they just frauds? Them first two I mentioned, yeah, everybody has an opinion on. And I'll just bring
I
this
would
up because I would like to hear from everybody who's listening to the program on your favorite platform or watching us on YouTube. Drop me a comment and tell me, which celebrity would you love to read about, and which one you think is just straight trash?
I mean, when you talk about, I don't think I wouldn't necessarily fraud in front of any of those,
They're the more
but
attention seekers.
definitely. Well, and also it's most of those people that you read are not current
Yes.
in the limelight. So it's another revenue streaming avenue for them before their light completely goes out. That's in my humble opinion.
By the way, I just want to drop a shameless plug. My new book is coming out next month. Richard Kearney Ain't Got Shit to Tell. It'll hit bookstores near you.
3 pages long. You won't have to worry about
Well,
it.
3 if you count the forward.
You're right.
All right. From the
So,
ridiculous
I
to the
mean,
sublime.
that's yeah.
What the heck?
I personally like the audio, or not audio, but the autobiographies. Like there's a really good one. Marcus Allen has one. I've read Hulk Hogan's.
And make no mistake, there's nothing wrong with.
Quite a few.
I
guess
do
if you're a
love to hear about it.
fan,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you're a fan of Kerry Washington, obviously if it had pictures in it, I'd probably thumb through it. She's easy on the eyeballs.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely true. But you can tell the attention seekers from the, memoirs. Obviously, let me go back to Patrick Stewart. He's not an attention seeker. That man has been around for a while. He's accomplished a lot, so he's got some stories to tell. Jada Pinkett Smith, as entertaining as it is, it's because, hey, there are no directors and producers knocking on her door right now.
True. Or this whole Will Jada thing is made up between them just so they can make more money.
You could be right about that. I mean,
they could be sitting on their couch laughing right now.
Yeah, having a competition. My book sold more copies than yours,
Mm-hmm.
So, wrapping it up, talk to me about the NFL Week 10. Obviously, your team had a bye. If you go around,
it was great. We won all the way around. Everybody lost that we needed to lose.
That's right. Baltimore lost. Cincinnati lost.
Buffalo lost.
Yeah. Buffalo lost again last night.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That was week 10 last night.
Oh, yeah, I guess it was. I forgot. Hey, realize that people, this doesn't come out for you guys until Thursdays, so it'll already be week 11. So that's why I'm, talking week 11. Since y'all had y'all's bye, who you got coming up?
Next Monday night, we play Philadelphia.
Right. We got to get Nelson Shields on this show next week. Nelson, big Eagles fan. We haven't heard from him since
he won't show
since the Super Bowl. We haven't heard from him, so
we haven't heard him since before the Super Bowl. He hasn't made it after that. He's been invited twice.
You hear that, Nelson? You getting called out? You getting called out?
Lick his wounds. He's already kicked me in the shins because I was saying that the Buffalo or Colorado Buffaloes were going to make a bowl game, and boy, was I wrong on that prediction.
You were looking good the first couple weeks of the season, then it all came crashing down.
Well, I just figured they would sneak out a couple other wins. Like they were in the game against USC. They were in the game last week. They were up 29-0 at halftime, I believe, against UCLA. It's just like, what the hell? I mean, it's not like they didn't have the opportunities to do it. They can't finish.
I already know where you stand on the Chiefs Eagles. Give me the over under on will Taylor Swift be at the game?
No, she's over in Europe doing her concert.
It's not looking good for the Chiefs.
Her tour.
Travis Kelce will only score one touchdown.
I think just because it's after a bye. I mean, I'm pretty confident, and it's at Arrowhead. So
Doesn't Andy Reid have like this damn near spotless record after a bye week?
yeah, I think he's like 10-2 or 12-2 or something like that.
Yeah. I would go with the Chiefs on this one too.
And he's never lost to the Eagles.
Our new
whatever-
coach is
for whatever that's
probably
worth.
going to lose his first game this weekend. The Raiders
Y'all
are
play
going
Miami?
to Miami. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I think
can't
Miami will
see.
be will have
And
their
Miami had a bye too, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare as well. So
yeah. I think they're gonna want to try to prove a point because let's be honest, that Chiefs defense laid the smackdown on them in Germany.
that they did definitely. Tyreek who?
He
Broncos
was
look
right. He gave us
Broncos
that
look
work.
Broncos look decent yesterday on defense. It was still a crappy game. Lots of mistakes made. They've got God, I forgot who they have coming up here. I want to say
Look it up real quick. You know, Denver is a strange team.
aren't they though? They're a team that could be, but they're not.
Denver is playing at home versus Minnesota. That's a Sunday night game. For Sunday night, the Vikings at the Broncos. I'll
Okay.
pick the Vikings.
I'm gonna go with. You said it's in Denver though.
Yeah, but that Josh Dobbs is playing lights out for Minnesota.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the Vikings as well. And then closing it out, you have where are they at?
Chargers at the Packers.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers simply because if you look at the last couple games, the Chargers have done Charger stuff and they've blown games. I think they're gonna get away from that this week.
Yeah, I think the Chargers will win as well.
I think Austin Eckler is going to have a good game. And that's, you set up the run, everything else will follow.
That game Thursday night's going to be fun. Cincinnati at Baltimore.
It's going to be fun for one team. One team is going to be staring down the hole of elimination early in the season.
Well, only one. And that's Cincinnati. Baltimore, if they lose, they're not going to be out of the race by any means. But
But that Cleveland wild card, that made a difference. I don't think they'll sustain.
Well,
Hey, real quick,
whoever
tell
they're
us what
playing
you got.
Pittsburgh. They're playing Pittsburgh this week, so
That D. All right, leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. We're gonna get out of here, but we're gonna get back with some more of this interesting stuff next week. Show, take us out of here.
hey, thanks for watching. We appreciate y'all. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Love your loved ones. Tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah, what he said.